Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Maya with Simply Bloom. So in this video, I want to show you how I dig and store my dahlia tubers. It is not, let me repeat, it is not the recommended way to store your dahlia tubers. It is, however, what has worked for me. The past 2 years, I've had 100% success rate every single time. I know that won't always be the case. Sometimes stuff happens. But I wanted to show you what I do. So typically the standard is you take your tubers, you divide them, you store them in vermiculite. I've seen sawdust. I've seen people wrap it in like saran wrap, stick it in a baggie. I store it in soil, garden soil. What I do is I take a digging fork and I lift the clump of tubers. I leave as much dirt on it as I can and I store it, and I have a garden cart I'll show you that has airflow on all sides and the bottom. I store that in my garage for a few days or however long it needs to take for the soil to almost completely dry out. When I say almost, I mean like 99.9% dry. There's just a little tiny bit, a hint of moisture, just so the tubers don't completely dry out and just disintegrate over winter time. I know that's not recommended. A couple reasons why. One, you can't actually see the tubers. You don't know if you're harboring over disease or a virus. There's like the galls that dahlia tubers can get that can, I think, wipe out your whole dahlia collection. Now, I do this because one, just for ease, I'm a busy mama of 5. I have a 6-month-old. Life is busy. 2, I do this partly because I am not relying on my dahlias for an income. If I were relying on my dahlias for an income, I would probably not do this method, just because you can't inspect the tubers. You cannot see if there's a disease or a virus affecting them. So yeah, mainly I just do this for ease. And soil is free. It's right from the garden. I'm not buying extra for vermiculite or sawdust or whatever, even though sawdust is pretty cheap. So let me bring you along and show you what I do. I'm gonna grab the cart. Okay, this is my sad excuse of a dahlia patch this year. Just this one row. You can see they've been hit by a frost. And this is the garden cart that I was talking about. So airflow on all sides, including the bottom. So after I dig these clumps, I'll pop them in here and the air can get to all sides to help dry that soil out. It did rain a few days ago, so the soil's pretty wet still. I also grabbed a pair of loppers because I'm gonna lop off the top of the dahlia plants, and then a digging fork. I have a different digging fork and I don't know where it went. It's a little bit like bigger, which would be easier to lift the big clumps, but this one will work fine. And then I shouldn't need my shovel, but just in case, I brought it. This thing comes with me everywhere. This is probably my favorite shovel. I don't even know what brand it is. Fiskars, I'm not sure. And then I also have a little shark. My son's shark. He's turning 3 today. It's his birthday. Okay, I'm gonna come in here with my loppers, chop off I like to leave a little bit of handle. So I'm gonna leave just a few inches above. Now, a couple other things that are great about this, hopefully you can see me. Another pro to leaving them in the soil is this is the only way I've stored them, so this is the only way I have experience with, but I feel like when you store it in sawdust or vermiculite that the tubers stay dormant for longer. A lot of times I'll pull these out in the spring. I kept them in my garage last year. It stayed around, we have it heated to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And when I pulled them out in May, they already had like 6 to 7 inches of growth. It was yellow because it had no light, but they already had a good kickstart to the season. So I just planted them just like that. Good to go. It's been about 3 years since I divided them. I did just throw all the clumps back in the ground this spring. So I do plan on this spring, before I plant them, I will divide them, and I'll give them like 3 days for that callus to I'll give them a day or 2 for that cut mark to dry out before I plant them in the spring. So let's dig this one up. Oh my gosh. Do you see how bent that is? Okay. I do have another one planted right here. My dog laid on it and crushed it. So I will dig up the tubers. I'm not sure what it'll be like, but oh gosh. If I had a proper digging fork, it might work a little bit better. You know what? I'm going to use my shovel. Not recommended to use a shovel because it can damage tubers. So I'm just going to make sure I'm far enough away. Okay. And like I mentioned, I'm going to try to leave as much of this dirt on as I can, which most of it is falling off. And then I'm just going to put it in the cart, just like that. And we are going to continue. This is a massive tuber. See that? From here all the way out here. It's like almost the size of a ruler, almost 12 inches. Insane. Okay, you guys, I have all of the dahlia tubers dug and in the cart. This is the cart. I have all the ones from the garden here, and then actually in this laundry basket, I have container dahlias. Now I stored these over last winter as well. I do the exact same process. You can see the darker potting soil versus the garden soil. Same process for container dahlias versus like the tall cut flower dahlias. So I'm gonna watch these. It's really hard to say exactly how many days I'm gonna have these in the cart. I think every year it's been different. It depends on how warm it is. It depends on the air moisture, how humid it is. Typically we have pretty dry winters, and it's been an extremely dry fall as well. So I don't imagine it would take these too long before they're ready to go into the tote. So once they are almost completely dry, what I do is I take the clumps of tubers, dirt and all, and I put them into totes. Once the tote is full, I do take a lid and kind of top it with the lid just to, I don't know, I feel like I'm tucking them in to sleep for the winter. I don't clamp it down tight though, so I don't actually clasp it shut. I just set it gently on top so there is a little bit of airflow. I don't want things to mold out, but I also somewhat want it to stay protected. I've seen people use burlap to top them as well. That would work great. And I've recommended to check on them throughout the winter. Have I ever checked on them? Nope, not once. I figured I'm going to open it in the spring and see what I get. And so far, every single dahlia has survived. Now there's typically 1 or 2 tubers on a clump that may have completely shriveled up or a little mushy. I just clip those off in the spring. The rest are very viable, and I have very good success with this. Let me know your favorite method of how to store tubers, because this works great for now. Eventually, I think I might want to save it. So for example, the tubers I got will probably fit into 2 or 3 totes. That's a lot of totes versus I know if I were to wash and divide and store properly, I could get it probably down into just 1 small tote. So this does take up a lot more storage space if you have a lot of tubers. This isn't going to work very well for you. So let me know your preferred method. Let me know if you give this a shot and if you have success. Like I said, I've had great success. But that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.